going to be a narrower view. Change the angle from 170 degrees to 140. Possibly it could come out looking okay, but there's only one way to find out. That's a little bit of trial and error, just working it out here on a grey day. So if it, oh crikey, if it does come out looking pretty horrible, I do apologise. I'm not going to bother riding down there, shall I? No, I think I'll stick to the field. So when I rode on this field the other day after work, it was still really frozen up, and now it's completely opposite. It's just muddy. I don't know what's better. This is pretty good. It was pretty hard when it was icy, so I'm going to be positive and give this a 7 out of 10. When it was icy, it was pretty hard, so I would have given that maybe a 5 out of 10. I can actually feel the suspension working today. The ground is more compliant. When it was rock hard, it was, with this being a hardtail on one, although it's got 140mm Fox 34s on the front, and I've reduced the air pressure in the rear tyre to about 30, it was still feeling brutal when that was all iced up. There we go. So, wonder if the 140 degrees has worked on that. Get across here. There we go. So we're in the public footpath. I know it's going to be muddy down here, but it's going to take me to where I want to go, which is St. Pagan's Museum. Hopefully we can have a little ride on the trails up there. Bye. This climb is always a little bit of a struggle in the wet, but I've got the 29er wheels, purgatory on the back. Oh, it's sliding out. You see if a purgatory is sliding. Trying to get my weight down on the back wheel. Just slow the cadence down a bit. Oh, come on. Oh. And I got the IXS GA2 on the front. They're both pretty good trail tyres. Not bad for muddy conditions because the mud flies off. I got a set of Mavic cross-rock tyres which I put on in the summer on this 29er, and they're great for dry conditions. So that's the sort of St. Pagan's loop, the promoted loop. I'm thinking of having to go there. So this is 140. There's a lot of pedaling here. It's not too boggy on this little stretch, but a bit further on it does get boggy. So let's just lower the camera a little bit. So that is 140, looking straight ahead. Right, what I'll do is switch this to 170. There is 170, so we'll do a comparison. Again, standing on the pedals, riding. We'll compare the images. Just have a look back where I had it on the 140. I'll keep it on 170 now for the rest of the ride, and then I'll choose the best for this camera. It's the Akaso 4K, pretty cheap for what you get. It's got the stabilisation on it. Have a look at my review. So if you're trying to do the sort of vlogging or YouTube on a budget, then I've compared this to the Yi action camera, which only went up to 1080p, and also the Hero 2, which I started out with, that only went up to 1080p. I don't think are really as good as this, but it's down to personal preference, isn't it, really? Good thing about the GoPro was the quality of the image, but it's quite a heavy camera to put on the helmet and that. It's quite an old camera anyway. The Yi action camera had good quality. It was pretty light, but it had issues with, for me, battery life, because it only came with one battery, so kept running out. Also, it didn't have the sort of anti-stabilization, sorry, the stabilization built in, so it had no sort of anti-shake, or so you had to wear it really tight on your chest. It's not always the greatest thing to do when you're on a ride. That was the only way I could steady the camera. Whereas this, I know it's nowhere near the GoPro 7 and 8, but I can't afford that. So anything is better than nothing. And to be honest, this does smooth out the image. If you put it in 60 frames per second, it's noticeably better. I run all my videos in 30 frames per second. It's very boggy up there, you know. Oh dear. You're fighting against so much mud. Try and stay with the trail. I don't want to make it any wider, but I'm going to avoid the puddle in the middle. Just ride around these wet bits, but trying to stay within the trail. So yeah, I'd recommend this camera, the Akaso. I think I paid something in the region of £45, I think it was, which is still a lot of money, especially when you already bought a Yi action camera for 35 quid, and then is that a false economy? You're then buying, well, luckily it's always a gamble, but I really suggest checking out the reviews that are all over YouTube, because some people will give it a positive review and say, yeah, for their style of riding, you know, for 40-50 quid or whatever, they may have paid a bit more or a bit less, but for that sort of money, under 100 quid, it's not a bad stabilisation. But if people are looking for that buttery smooth, professional sort of proper stabilisation like the GoPro has got, the Hero 7 and 8, then you've got to spend the money. When you're looking at new, it's over 300 quid. But people who do use the GoPro Hero 7, like Trail Rider and BKXC, to name a few YouTubers, they do have very good footage. You know, I do watch what they do and I think, oh, I've got to start saving, but it's hard to save, and you've got bills to pay and children and other commitments, which is why I think the Akaso bike is good if you're on a budget. Put my rear light on. I don't know how effective that will be. Not much. And this is St. Fagans Museum. So I've been told, and looking on the Komoot app, that there are rideable, I wouldn't call them trails, but tracks. Hopefully you'll see some interesting things. I don't want to park the bike up and go for a walk. I want to ride these paths. So we'll see whether that is possible. Public footpath here, but I don't want to ride that today. Again, it's going to be too wet. Excuse me, can I ride in and follow some of the trails? So that's the one you're on about, but it does join up with the road. So then they must go up, and then they go in up there, then they go in left. That's the bridge you're talking about, right? Going across.
Okay.
So then
it's yellow.
The yellow is the main dual carriage. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Going up the Culver House that way.
Yeah.
Stuck in the field, putting the bike on your back because it's completely unrideable. So
and if the river's high, it's flooded.
Yeah, I think I'll probably I won't ride it today. If you had said, yeah, there's trails in there, you know, you got to get to places to find out really. But you've been really helpful, and that's the main thing, is just knowing, look, it's probably not worth it at the minute. The fields at the back are so boggy. And then you go up. You know where the old, right at the top of Blind Gary, you got the like pond.
Ponds, yeah.
You go up a bit further. There's a path. Yeah, there's a big giant acorn sculpture there.
What about Billy Grint? Not Billy Grint. In Llantriston.
Oh, Smilog.
Smilog.
Yeah, it's so damp up there at the minute. I've only done 4 kilometres. I've had a guts full already. Like, so it does sound like it's just going to be more boggy fields. Yeah. So maybe in the spring I'll dive over that. Yeah. Thanks for your help. Okay. All the best.
Is it the way?